Hi. How's everybody today? Is everybody great? It's Tuesday, right? Feels like Monday. Why does it feel like Monday? So I'm feeling a little under the weather. Not super sick, just not quite my. I was gonna say perky self. No, I'm not perky. Rob's laughing in the other room. Right. Little bit of a like, oh no, when you swallow and you get that one spot in your throat that hurts when you swallow. I took some daytime cold meds, so I'm functional right now and don't sound so bad, but worried I'm coming down with something. And it feels yucky when I'm not on meds. So there's something I make very often when we have sickness in the house. Rob doesn't eat it, unfortunately, but I love it. And my son Victor also likes the treatment of having hot and sour soup when we're sick. I don't know if Connor makes it since he's moved away. So I'm bringing broth to a boil. So I'm just gonna whip this up. Where's my little whisk? I finally own a little whisk and it's missing. Damn it. Well, I guess I'm using a fork. No big deal. So I'm using chicken stock today because it's what I have in the fridge. I made it last week, or I don't know, a couple days ago. Whatever. I threw a carcass in the Instapot and made a stock quick. Excuse me. Hi, I'm September, 9 of 12. If you're new and haven't been here before, I try to do some, basic you can do it too cooking. I want to encourage everyone because if I can cook, so can you, as Yan would say. Um, I don't know if there's ads going. I don't know what's going on. So, hot and sour soup. I got this recipe. I remember making this at my grandmother's house. We found it in a magazine. Um, and I believe it was a Swanson sponsored thing in a magazine. And I've been making it ever since. And let me see, I was probably 12. So for like 45 years, I've been making this soup. I do vary it. I am using chicken stock today, but I usually use vegetable stock. It also had like little strips of pork you're supposed to cut up pork chops and put in there. I don't know that if I've ever done that since I left, home. Um, the version I make is usually vegetarian, except for soy. No, soy sauce is wheat, right? Yeah. The version I make is usually vegetarian. Um, it called for just regular mushrooms. I like to vary the mushrooms in it. I really like shiitake in it, and it's handy with the method this is made with. You can just throw in dried ones if you can get them, and it hydrates them in the soup. But it's got stock, mushrooms, bamboo shoots, which I've got here. Um, they come in a can if you haven't used them before. They're a nice little lovely crunchy thing to throw in food. I thought about putting water chestnuts in this, but I don't know. I haven't done that yet. Anyway, red pepper flakes, which I I don't know. I'm not digging through the big cupboard. I don't feel good. I usually do use, but today I'm gonna use some chili garlic paste in lieu of that. Um, this is a different kind of jar because I couldn't find the sambal I liked when I bought this, but it is Lee Kum Kee, which is a brand I liked. There's soy sauce and a lot of things when we used to have an Asian market in town. So I have this chili garlic sauce I'm going to use instead of um, soy sauce. It also goes for black pepper. I'm replacing that with white. Um, it's a secret that secret. It's a tip an Asian friend of mine gave me many years ago, but I only recently, when Chef John Leong mentioned it, thought about throwing it in my hot and sour soup. Anyway, normally soy sauce, red pepper, black pepper, tofu, uh, vinegar, of course, egg. The original recipe calls for cornstarch slurry. I don't like that. I generally just skip it. If you want that texture, go ahead and put a little slurry in it. I will put the original recipe, or how to say, my modified recipe, but modified less than I'm going to do today, on my Discord for people to be able to grab. And it's garnished with some green onion and toasted sesame oil. So, what was the other thing I was going to say about that? Oh, if you don't have, any of these things, but you've got some basic pantry things, you can just go ahead and do this. I think last week, there seemed to be something trying to threaten to come through the house, and I had stock, and but I usually keep stock even if I don't have homemade, I've usually got stock in the fridge, and hopefully you do too, because even just for making rice, it's a good thing to have around. But I just threw the soy sauce, vinegar, some chili garlic paste, some white pepper in, and you could use chili flakes in the broth. And then I just beat an egg and did the drip method I'll show in a little bit, to make like an egg drop hot and sour. And that it's still got, most of the actual medicinal type ingredients in there. Now you can put these in whole, or you can cut them into smaller slivers. The original recipe said to do that. I'm probably going to do that with about half of these, because some of them are already pretty small. I like to use extra firm tofu for this. I mean, you don't want it completely falling apart in there, but firm will work. So first we're bringing the broth to a boil while I do this. Anything? Oh, and I'm going to want to cut up the mushrooms. Because as soon as it comes to a boil, we're putting in the mushrooms, we're putting in the bamboo shoots, the vinegar, the soy, all the pepper things. We're going to simmer it for 5 minutes and then put the bean curd in. The tofu, sorry, and same difference. And cook that for 2 minutes, and then you drizzle your egg in, and you just garnish with the green onions and sesame oil, which I forgot to bring in here, but I'll grab it. And that's it, and it's so good. It's like one of those clear your sinuses, soothe your all your cold stuff, like some hot food does, right? But I don't know what it is about the vinegary. It might be just that, when your sinuses are acting up, it interferes with your sense of smell, which interferes with your sense of taste. And this is a nice, strong flavor, so it just feels good to be tasting something strongly, even if you've got a stuffy nose. And, I'm farting around with this. You do not have to. You could just put these in whole. I'm also going to go ahead and put the liquid in here. I'm not going to drain these. Is it even say to drain them? I didn't left it out of my instructions. But I know what I usually do because I make this a lot. I only got out my recipe to try to remember what I wrote down to take with me, or to, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry. Brain's a little foggy with the illness. What I wanted to put in the cookbook, for posterity and all that, and to share with my sister. I really, really like shiitakes in this, like I said. Um, these are really clean. I'm gonna brush any dust off them, and I'm gonna cut the stems off. Shiitake stems tend to be really tough. I miss having fresh ones. I grew some for a while. I had a log that we got from a CSA locally, but it only like really gave us one flush of mushrooms. I think you call it a flush. A couple years ago, my friend Neil, his neighbor, had like a whole ton. He had, I don't know, like tons of a bunch of logs leaned up against a tree, so they were in the shade, and had more than he could use of shiitakes. And they wanted like help. What do we do with these? And I was like, I got you. I'll give you recipes. And basically, my friend brought me a whole like case of them, like a banana box ish, I think. Well, not a banana box, a big box. And I dehydrated a bunch of them in my dehydrator and vacuum sealed them. And I got to keep some and gave some to them and gave them some tips on recipes to use them in. I really like shiitake. They're really unique. Let's see how this is coming. It's starting to steam. It's not boiling yet. Shiitakes are chewier than your average moonlight button mushroom or whatever. So I do want to make these thin. I mean, they'll get tender when they cook in the broth, but if you're using dried ones, you'll notice they come in this sort of julienne. And it's just kind of pretty. I mean, if you cut them up in cubes or whatever, that would be maybe a little odd for the aesthetic. So after I get the soup done, I'm going to probably have some. I'm going to I've got the lamb mix from the meatballs I made for Factual Foodie on Sunday. I'm going to improve it. I mean, it was fine, but I want to make it better. Not that anyone cares or would know but me. By the way, that bowl, whole Okay. Sorry about that. I guess this will be a useless video for the most part, right? Or I could recap some. I'm making hot and sour soup. I don't feel like I'm going to want to save the video for people to just watch and try to figure out what I'm doing. Oh well, it leaves hot and sour soup on the menu for someday making it, right? Hot and sour soup because I'm not feeling great. Then I'm going to use my leftovers from the Factual Foodie and make a delicious pizza sandwich with meatballs that I'm going to improve, ramp up a little from the ones I made just to have little ones in the bowl on a skewer during competition. I am skipping cornstarch slurry in my hot and sour soup because I don't care for it. You can make hot and sour by just using seasonings, an egg, and make it into an egg drop sweet and sour if you want. Go ahead and prep some onions now. If you don't have all this other stuff and don't want to go get it to put in your hot and sour soup, if you have vinegar and soy sauce and egg and maybe some cayenne, like whatever peppers you like, or this chili garlic paste, you're good. You can make hot and sour soup. Something I discovered, I went to Chinatown in Toronto, and I got hot and sour soup there, and it was kind of a revelation. Along with it being a restaurant that was full of actual Asian folks, and seeing how they use chopsticks when I'm, working on picking up every little tiny thing, and they've got a bowl and they're using the chopsticks to kind of, scoop stuff in their mouth. I was like, well, cool. Less pressure on how to use chopsticks. The hot and sour soup was very obviously a clean out the fridge type soup, right? You got your vinegar in there and your soy, and everything else is kind of, and your peppers, and everything else is kind of what you got. It seemed that they had just actually thrown some like Tabasco sauce in it. It was really good. It was very different than what I've made and had in other restaurants in America. Not in a Chinatown, because Buffalo doesn't have a Chinatown. Too late, Vic. I hear my soup boiling, or my broth boiling. And it really helped me feel a little more free about how I even make this one I've been making for so long. Experiment a little. Okay. So, let's get all our veggies in here. Like I said, I'm going to put the juice from the bamboo shoots in there. It's got a kind of a little fresh flavor. It's not overly salted or anything like a lot of vegetables that are canned. Um, 5 tablespoons of vinegar, and sometimes I just dump this. I actually happily surprised myself when I made it last. And 3 of soy. Actually, I think the last 2 times I made it, when I was just kind of doing a half-assed egg drop version, I didn't measure my vinegar and soy. I usually end up adjusting it a little at the end anyway. I got gochujang at the supermarket today at the Ingles. I've been ordering it online and haven't seen it in a grocery store before. About, I don't know, maybe a month ago I spotted it at my Ingles, which is where my pharmacy is. I don't like that store for much, but they had that, and it was marked down like $2 today. Okay. That's gonna definitely need more. How much broth? The initial recipe calls for 14 ounces. No, 314 out of 15, 30. 42 ounces. I might need more seasoning. Let's get our chili garlic paste in there. Yeah. White pepper. Just a good amount. I want this to get the spice. I am gonna go with black pepper because I just like black pepper, especially with mushrooms. We are going for a nice hot soup. Can't hurt to add more kinds of pepper. Oops. That's maybe a lot. It's fine. Clear out sinuses, right? A little annoying to not have the chili flakes, but I'm confident that chili garlic paste is gonna... Oh, it's what I did the last 2 times I made this. I really have to go through and remember to buy some freaking chili flakes. I just feel like I misplaced them and I'm resisting buying them because, damn it, they're somewhere. Taste. And I'm gonna say a little more vinegar. Oops, that was 2 tablespoons, maybe 3, and some more soy because that's more broth than the original recipe calls for. It's usually not cloudy like this, but that's because I use a homemade stock. If you use box broth, it won't happen. There's the thing I'm looking for. Get up to the acidity I'm after. I am going to add some actual salt, which isn't in the recipe, but even if you get a low sodium stock, it's got some salt. My homemade stock is very, very low sodium. Yeah, low salt. I don't think I added any. Like, I was just kind of boiling the carcass and some veggies type. Okay. That's good. So I'm going to bring this back up to a boil. And Alexa set a timer for 5 minutes. So crap out of my way. And what was I going to do? Oh, work on these meatballs. So, this sesame oil, so it's here when our soup is ready. Let's work on zhuzhing the meatballs. I don't know if I'll get to the full execution of this today. Let me see. Do I want to put feta in the meatballs? I think not. That's something I do like to do for a burger. I'm just gonna put one scallion, one's more finely than the other. The ones for the soup to put in lamb. When I make a burger with lamb, oh yeah, put the feta right in the burger. Freaking amazing. I was actually talking to Megabytes and Tanika's Tavern, Dom, the other night after the competition, and they were so nice. We were talking in the Food and Drink channel for the club, and they were so kind. Dom was saying how my food always makes her super hungry, like she needs tahini in her life, and I was saying I was probably going to use this to make a burger. And oh my god, stop. Megabytes is such a sweet guy. I think we're going to talk about doing some kind of collab where we stream together. It would make me pretty happy. I'm sorry my volume's low, but I had to turn my camera mic on because my lav mics aren't charged and it died real quick. My remarkable Hollyland, I want to say mics because they, oops, I didn't mean to make those, I forgot, I didn't want to cross split those. One of them went through the wash and they seem to be working still. Yay. Okay. Herbs. More herbs. I brought more herbs and where are they? Here's the dill. Put some dill in this. This is something that Ziki would be really, really good at too when I make this sandwich, but it already has mint in it, but I'm going to put some more. That tahini dressing is fire. I might dehydrate the rest of the mint I have left over. It's looking a little shabby. But I think for the purposes of making pita sandwiches that probably, I don't know, Rob might try. Probably not his meatballs. Like if it was falafel he would, but he won't eat most things that are ground meat. But Vic will have one. I'll just leave it to the tahini dressing and not go ahead and make Ziki. I feel like they were a little dry. So I put a little more yogurt in. This yogurt's left from the competition as well. I'm also going to add a little smidge, just a smidge of tomato paste. Alexa, stop. Okay, time for the soup. Oh yes. Oh my. Spoon. Where's that one? There we go. You can skim the foam if you want. It's just there because it's only in stock. It's not likely to happen to you with stock from a can or a box. Okay, now I'm going to add the tofu. I'll cook for like 2 minutes. Yeah. And then I'll do the egg drop situation. This is going to be a little harder proportion-wise than the recipe I'm going to post in my Discord. But it also doesn't have, like, the pork and crap from the original. Alexa, set a timer for 2 minutes. Alright. Smidge of tomato paste I'm going to put in these meatballs. It's like a teaspoon, maybe. Yeah, it's less than a pound, like a little over a teaspoon, maybe. I put in mint, right? Dill, yogurt, a little tomato, onion. I think that's what I wanted more seasoning. I'm gonna use a shortcut for the seasoning. Again, because it's got, I'm gonna use the masala honey, which has nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, turmeric, coriander, black pepper, allspice, cloves, and cardamom. Yeah. We really like this. You can see I've gone through most of a giant bottle. We found this at this Lebanese restaurant that has a little market catch called Neomond in Raleigh, North Carolina. My friend Neil, my same friend Neil, who is a farmer and helped me acquire those shiitakes a couple years ago. He used to go to NC State in their agriculture program, and he's the one who turned us on to Neomond. And my son went to NC State, my oldest son, for a while, and it was nice to like go to Neomond even more. All right, let's get these in toaster oven or on their way to it. Alexa, stop. Shoot. Okay. I'm gonna have to use another glove in a minute so that I can get this done first. Okay. So get this gentle kind of simmer going, and I use. I put a fork on the edge or a chopstick or whatever. It kind of keeps it in a small stream, and like circle around. It's not a very good demo, is it? I'm sorry. Move the camera this way. But you're just pouring in a stream into the hot broth, and then let it cook a couple minutes. Again, simmer, not a big boil. Now I guess it's clean for next time on the stream. See, I finally got myself a little whisk. I've never had a little one. I always thought, I don't need that. I have a big one. I can use a fork. But you know, sometimes you just deserve to have the thing you want. It's boiling a little harder than I want. It's hard to turn down these electric burners. So anyway, we had to cook. You stir. And if we did it right, it's not giant hunks. It's kind of stringy. I got some giant hunks in here. But you know what? It's fine. It'll break up as you stir it and cook it. And if you wanted, you could put in your cornstarch slurry, and it'll be more the texture you get in a Chinese restaurant, or at least an American Chinese restaurant like you might be used to. But you can always smash up the egg a little more. I just totally skip the cornstarch. Restaurants here put way too much in it. Like, if you let it sit, it would become a solid, and that's gross. That's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to let that simmer a little bit before I serve it up and get these meatballs onto a tray. And when those are in the oven, I can serve myself some soup. Even though I'm using daytime meds, man, I'm getting sucked up. See, someone's here, right? Yay! Hello, Therion. I'm gonna hold you up here. Oh, I appreciate you. I hate that the camera was blurry. I wish I had known that that had happened again. I would have, you know, insisted on restarting um, the camera. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with like a patty style, almost like, let's put this over here, um, like a falafel, because I'm gonna put these in a pita sandwich, or pita sandwiches. Um, because I feel like, unfortunately, people couldn't see that I roasted a red pepper with a torch. Because I'm using basically what I can do on a table here. My kitchen is not amenable to doing this. Hi. Um, I made that fennel salad. I used my mandolin. I feel like I did really good. Um, Megabytes and Dom were super, super kind. We ended up late night in the food and drink club Discord talking about stuff because Dom was like, "Your food always makes me so hungry," and Mega came in and was like, "Your dish made what did he say? Your dish made mine look like child's play." I'm like, "Oh, dude, you made your bowls. You literally made the bowls," which is something I thought about doing, but I wouldn't have made three different bowls. Like the bread, I knew I would have to just buy and hollow out. So maybe I could have done two because he did that as well. But I thought about doing like a tortilla bowl and then a Mexican thing. Although I probably still would have done something similar to the takeoff on a Buddha bowl that I did too. I don't know that the voting would have been any different, and that's fine. It's fine because you can't taste it, and that really matters to me. Um, like when I've won cooking competitions before, like I placed in one where um, they actually made my recipe and were tasting it and called me and told me, this woman told me how great it was and she got to try it too. And that was like this Wolfgang Puck thing. But then for the next round, it moved on to a popularity contest. It moved on to people on the internet voting. And I didn't win that part. And you know what? That's fine. I I won the part where people actually were trying my recipe. And I get much more out of gratification out of that than a popularity contest. John did a good job, I think, forming the scores ideas to try and keep that from happening because it averages. Um, so as long as everybody's honest and no one's trying to troll and just actually voting lower scores for um, not their friends, it works out fine and it only has so much of the points because you've got the trivia and you've got his scoring. I was just a little sad that he scored me lower than he did the other two because I really felt like, especially when you could see the picture, um, that I did a really good job. Oh my gosh, dude, it was delicious. Um, I feel a little like he didn't know what a bowl was. He seemed really confused. That like, are you just putting all of that in a bowl? It's like, yes, this is a style of food. You have a question about it in the trivia. Um, well, this is more. I still have this much. It was only a pound of lamb. But you know what? That's cool. Because I can cook these. I can leave the rest to see if I want to adjust the flavor even more after I get this batch ready for using in sandwiches. And maybe, oh, sorry, I forgot my lav is dead and I'm using the overhead cam. Maybe I'll make this into a burger yet. Oh, wow, that smells good. It needed the dill and more seasoning, in my opinion. So I'm gonna dish up some of this soup, and it should get rid of my sniffles. So what else? Oh, I also want a recipe contest with Dreamfields pasta. It was a vegetarian dish. My youngest son was vegetarian at the time. It's probably not the right bowl for this because this holds more than I want to eat. But they asked me to. I want a case of pasta, and here's where I put the green onions on here and just some sesame oil. And then this works fine, so you know at home. Go ahead and throw some sesame oil and green onions. It's fine later when they cook too, even though it's listed as a garnish. I think they're using the Jacques Pepin way of calling something a garnish when it's just actually part of the dish or a side. So there we go. I should take a picture of, I think, the pot. The pot or the bowl? What do you think is a better picture? Yes, very witchy. Actually, Dom is too, as it turns out. I called tahini magical, and I used a K in it last night in chat, or Sunday night in chat, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." I think the pot's gonna be a better picture. Oh, so Dreamfield said, "Hey, congratulations! Here's your case of pasta that I won for the contest, and we will send you another case of pasta if you make a video." So it's still on my um, YouTube. Yeah, the thing with the bowl, it's so deep, and the light here, because the sun's in that window. Maybe if I turn on camera. And it's a chopstick bowl. It's my new ramen bowl, just because I kind of wanted to try it. And it's not really a soup that you would use chopsticks with. There's no noodles. But anyway, um, yeah, on my YouTube, there's still a video from something like 20 years ago that I did with my son for Dreamfields Pasta, making that pasta dish, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, because it's got artichokes, hearts, and sun-dried tomatoes in it. So we gave it a little bit of a California name. We had an old, it's really blurry. Yeah, it didn't come with a spoon, but like I'm trying to get a good, it's got like a hole in it. Whoops. I'm doing it wrong. Why is it falling out? Some of these come with like a spoon too, one of those scoopy spoons they use with Asian food a lot. And but this was $5 at Aldi. I do need to get a wider one that's going to be really good for pictures and presentation, because for the cookbook I'm working on, the first dish is a hot pot, and I wanted to make the presentation similar to it is in the anime. I'm making a Delicious in Dungeon cookbook, which has been delayed by about 2 years from when I started planning it. So I hope someone else hasn't done it in the meantime. I feel like this could use another egg. Just more stock than I counted on. Because I didn't measure it. Because why would I measure? I measure with my heart. mm. Yeah, I usually just throw one picture in, and Twitch makes it crop really kind of small, so it's just like part of the picture anyway. I don't spend a lot of time editing that. I just quickly put that up to change the thumbnail to something more attractive, and then I export my videos to YouTube. I wish the YouTube export respected thumbnails on Twitch, but it doesn't. It just takes whatever videos still. And I could add them on YouTube, but I don't really... Unless all of a sudden I, for some random reason, started getting a whole lot of followers on YouTube, I'm not really... It's just there for an archive for me. Gracious. So I've been putting it off, but I've got a budget. My husband is wonderful and has provided me with, hey, let's have a budget for what you can spend money to, improve your stream monthly going forward. And I want more. I want to season it more, but I'm like, wait, because these flavors are going to develop. It's just going to be better later. And I have a stuffed nose, so I know I'm not tasting everything. Sorry. So I'm going to go to World Market and get... They are going to have the perfect bowl there. I know they will. For me to, when I get that dish developed, do the presentation pretty. Although I have Carter Johnson said she was interested in doing art for me for the cookbook. She's been too busy to consult on it lately, but we'll figure it out. When she's less busy, I'm sure. But I'm going to take pictures of the dishes I make them. I mean, obviously for the stream, but also for... Definitely not hotter. I'll have to decide at some point, like, how much of the cookbook layout is going to be photos, how much is going to be actual art. I plan to pay Carter for the art, or if we can negotiate maybe getting a portion of the sales of the cookbook. But I'm leery of doing that unless I get a publishing deal. Like, I already have a publisher because I put out a book last year, and my friend owns the publishing company. It's kind of an indie thing. But that doesn't get you all the ton of marketing you get when you have a big name publisher. If I can get access to the IP, which is proving tricky, or get, a bigger name publisher in there, and then I would make enough. Like, my book has sold, I don't know, 4 or 5 copies. It's not, because we don't have a giant marketing budget to push books. But regardless, I can put it out in the world. So maybe I'll try to pay Carter something up front and then a royalty percentage or something. Maybe I should make an LLC. So counterintuitively, with the vinegar in there and the spices, my throat feels better. Just because it opens you up. Maybe it numbed a little. Maybe that's what happened. But this soup is our cold cure. And I really need it to work because my husband has a gig this weekend and I'm supposed to be doing sound. And being sick is really bad for that. I mean, I can wear a mask and sit in the corner, but I need to be able to hear well. And sometimes this shit gets in your ears, right? A little veal cutlet that couldn't. That's cute. I would probably love that. Sounds up my alley. I wish my to be read pile wasn't. I wish it was empty so I could add more things. Right now I'm reading a book called The Coven that I found. There's a used bookstore a couple towns away that me and my best friend and my husband went on like a field trip to. They had some kind of, what was it? It was like, it was a special where like for a flat price you got 10 books or 20 books or something. So we went in there and Rob got a bunch of Witcher books and Lori got, I think, some crafting books and some fiction. I found this Coven book and it looked like something Lori would really like to read. So she read it and now she gave it to me and I'm reading it. And then Amy Robinson contacted me, Red Fraggle, a couple weeks ago. She does, all right, the morning stream is a show I watch all the time. Frog Pants is the community that a community online I've been part of for a really long time now. And she does a read this segment on the morning stream. And this wasn't a book she did, or maybe she just hasn't yet. It's not a book she recommended on the segment, but she private messaged me to tell me that she thought this book would be right up my alley. And she's totally right. It's called Mama's Day. So it's kind of got like a, it's a kind of a historical fiction, black history stuff going on, but herby, witchy stuff that looks like magic happening. It sounds great, and I haven't been able to dig into it. Yeah, I haven't been able to dig into it because I still haven't read The Coven. And The Coven is on paper, so I can kind of only read it down here where there's light, because usually if I'm in bed, you know, my husband's sleeping there, and I don't want to have the light on. So I got Mama's Day on the Kindle. So after I finish The Coven, I can start reading Mama's Day at bedtime every night. So, here, I should probably hook up the other light so that it would look more attractive. This light is so dumb. I don't like the way it clips on stuff, but whatever. Now okay. And at least you can see that they browned up nice. I'm going to taste one of these. I might make a pita sandwich. I'm hungry. I've had a long day. And it's not even, it's like 2:30. Not feeling good and having to run errands anyway sucks. I gotta say, it's gonna be a little hard to not put absolutely everything on this sandwich. These flavors all complement so well. I didn't even think about it when I was making the bowl. It was just making the bowl so that those things worked like when I go to Kava. Have you heard of Kava? It's a place with, you know, sort of Buddha bowl type things, but a lot of times they're Mediterranean. They're always out of Faro. They used to have Faro. My son, my oldest son, had given me that bulgur wheat. I'm not going to heat up this pita because I don't care enough right now. I wonder if I could heat it right on these burners. I bet I could. Anyway, my son was like, oh, I was at his house. He's like, I bought this bulgur wheat. I had good intentions, but I'm not using it. Please take this. And I was, you know, I had good intentions, but never got around to it until it was the perfect opportunity to go ahead and make tabbouleh. Kava is, I don't know, there's several locations. I'm in North Carolina, but I know I've seen them in more than one town, so I don't know how big the chain is. All right. Let's find the tongs. Bat tongs. I should probably just try one of these alone first, right? Oh. Oh my God. Yeah, that's I'm good. That's so much better than they were the other night. It really needed just more seasoning. Holy shit. Medicine. Food is medicine. Right? It's the witchy way. This is gonna. So I have my meatballs in there. I'm gonna put some of this tahini dressing. Oh, I don't want to put yogurt in it. That had tahini, lemon juice, maple. I don't remember exactly what seasonings. If you join my Discord, I believe my show notes that I put in there have the recipe. So put all of that in there. I'm tempted to go ahead and put some of the hummus in here too, but that's just too much. I don't need to do that. I'm going to put a little bit of the spinach and arugula. I'm going to take a picture of this too, I guess. I don't really want tomatoes in it. Holy cow, that... These make me freaking happy. I think it's better than falafel. That's, and that's saying something. I really am into falafel. Annoyed that all the other counter mixes suck now. I've only made it from scratch once. It's hard to find the ingredients here. And I'll use my hands. This is apple fennel salad with orange zest, celery, a piece of sun-dried tomato in there. It was just random. Yeah, not a lot of that, just a little, and it's gonna brighten the whole thing up. Holy crap, dude. All right. I'm excited to get a bite, but I gotta take a picture. I've got a hole in my pita. Do, 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 do. You know, it's just gonna have to be good enough. I'm not here for all this. There we go. Okay. I'm way too excited about this. This is like the best leftovers. Can you tell I care so much about how I lost? Not right now. I'm winning. Mm. Yeah. I'd say more of this dressing. Like I maybe should address the greens, which is probably that's another way. I might have this again for dinner and do it that way. Like dress the spinach and arugula with the tahini dressing, and then just put some of these lamb patties on top and have it as a salad. Um, I figured I would have tabbouleh as a side with this, but being that I was eating the soup, I'm not going to really be hungry enough. But that tabbouleh turned out. I never actually made it from scratch before. I love tabbouleh, and I wasn't kidding. And I'm sorry, it sounded arrogant, but it was the best tabbouleh I had ever had. Now, to be fair, that might just be because I literally just made it. And when you have it in a restaurant, they're making a big batch, and it has to sit for hours or a day or whatever. And being so like parsley and fresh lemon heavy, um, it's gonna be better immediately put together like that. So it could be very well just that, not any special thing I did. Mm. Yeah. All right. So there we go, folks. Thanks for joining me. Um, I hope you feel like you learned something or you want to try something you haven't because it's not that hard. I'm working with leftovers and a lot of stuff that I just keep in the house. I mean, a can of bamboo shoots and I get shelf stable tofu and I keep it in the cupboard for when I want to do something with it. Stock. If you get those mushrooms dried, they last a really, really long time, and you can have something on hand whenever you get sick to make hot and sour. Um, or, just do an egg drop. And then this, leftovers from Fractional Foodie. Um, I'm so really proud of these dishes that I made for that. Um, yeah, even the sweet potato would go on here. The hummus would go on here. You could use different combos of all the things I put in that bowl and just slap them on a pita, and they'll be fine. But yeah, anyway, thanks for coming. I'm going to go finish my food, and I look forward to cooking with you soon.